Hello students, welcome to science class chapter 8 body movements part 2. In part 1 we had learned about different types of movements in human, different types of movement in animal, how different animal move from one place to another, how animal or human use their body parts for movement and everything. So now here in this part we'll learn about joints. So in first part I told you about joints also. So we are able to bend or rotate our body in places where two parts of our body seem to be joined together. Yes, like elbow, shoulder, neck, your finger. So these places are called joints. You can name more such joints also. Imagine in our body has no joints. Do you think it would be possible for us to move in any way at all? Exactly no. So what exactly is joined together at this joint? First, I am telling you one activity. Press your fingers against the top of your head. You can press at face, neck, nose, ear, back of your shoulder, hands, legs, anywhere. So you get feel of something hard pressing against. Yes. So the hard structure are the bones. This way you can do this activity, you can repeat this activity on other parts of your body also. So many bones are there in our body. And one more thing, bones are very hard structure. So bones cannot be bent. So one question arises in your mind. So how do we bend our elbow? Elbow also a bone and bones are very hard. Bones cannot be bent. So how do we bend our elbow? So here it is different bones joined together at the elbow. Similarly, there are many bones present in each part of the body. We can bend or move our body only at those points where bones meet. So here total 4 joints are there in our body. First is ball and socket joint, second pivotal joint, third hinge joint, fourth fixed joint. Now one by one I will explain all joints. First, ball and socket joint. A joint made of a ball moving within a socket and it is found at shoulder and hips. Second is pivotal joint. A joint where a cylindrical ball rotates in a ring and it is found neck. Hinge joint. A joint where the ends of bones meet and it is found at ankle, elbow, knees. Next is fixed joint. The joint where bones cannot move. So fixed joint found at different sections of the skulls. Now number 1, ball and socket joint. See, ball and socket joint. First imagine and roll a strip of paper into a cylinder. Now make a small hole in an older rubber or you can make a hole in plastic ball also. And push the paper cylinder into it. So you can also stick the cylinder on the ball. Now put the ball in a small bowl. Does the ball rotate freely inside the ball? Yes. Now imagine that the paper cylinder is your arm and the ball is its end. The ball is like the part of the shoulder to which your arm is joined. And the rounded end of one bone fits into the cavity. Again I am telling, cavity means hollow space of the other bone. And such type of joints allow movement in all directions because it rotates in all directions. Now as I told you that ball and socket joint found in shoulder and hip bone. In ball and socket joint, the rounded end of one bone fits inside a cup-shaped ending on another bone. Ball and socket joints allow movement in all directions and also rotation. So the most mobile joints in the body are ball and socket joint. Example, shoulders and hip. Remember, example of ball and socket joint, shoulders and hips. See, head of humerus, this one, and scapula. This is also example of ball and socket joint. Second is pivotal joint. Pivotal joint, the joint where our neck joins the head. You know where our neck joins the head. This is pivotal joint. It allows us to bend our head forward, backward, sideways and turn the head to our right and left. It means forward, backward and sideways. You can try this movement. How are these movements different from those our arm and can rotate? Because I told you in ball and socket joint our arm rotate can all four directions. But in pivotal joint, it allows us to bend our forward, backward and sideways. It means right or left. And in ball and socket joint, that can rotate a complete circle. In a pivotal joint, a cylindrical bones rotate in a ring. Means that rounded end of one bone protrudes into sleeve or ring, we can say, composed of bone or ligaments of another bone. And examples, atlas and axis and radius and ulna. See, this is pivotal joint. Ulna, radius, these all are pivotal joint. Next is hinge joint. Hinge. You can see that hinge. Have you ever seen that door? Door close at one side only. It's open and close. We cannot open or close in second direction. Always we can open that door at one direction only. We can close it and open it. So you can also open and close a door a few times and observe the hinges of the door carefully. So you observe that they allow the door to move back and forth in one direction. So now this kind of movement allowed by a hinge. You can also make a cylinder with cardboard or thick chart paper, and you can attach a small pencil to the cylinder by piercing the cylinder at the center. Now make a hollow half cylinder from cardboard such that the rolled up cylinder can fit inside it easily. Now the hollow half cylinder with the rolled up cylinder sitting inside it and allow movement like a hinge. So you can observe that how this movement is different from what we saw with our constructed ball and socket joint and pivotal joint, because you know that in ball and socket joint this allow movement in all four directions. It rotate all four directions. In hinge joint and pivotal joint also forward, backward and sideways, and hinge joint allow movement only in one direction. So what we have Isn't it different from a hinge? Of course, but it. See, can you think of more example of such joint? First, hinge. Hinge joint resemble the hinges on a door, so that flexion and extension movements are possible. Open and close, this movement is possible. Example of these joints are the elbow, knee, ankle joint, your finger. These all are the examples of hinge joint. See, here also some examples are there. Humerus, that radial head is there. Ulna with joint. Now, this said monaxial movement. It means that one-sided movement only. It's close and open in one side. Now, next joint is fixed joint. Here in our skull, in our head also some joints are there. So some joints between bones in our head, you know that our skull. So different from those we have discussed so far, because till now we had discussed three joints, that ball and socket joints also allow some type of movement, pivotal joint also allow some type of movement, hinge joint also allow some type of movement, but here I am talking about fixed joint. So fixed joint does not allow any type of movement. So here the bones cannot move at this joint. Such joints are called fixed joint. Fixed joint does not allow any type of movement. So here bones cannot move at this joint, and such joints are called fixed joint. See here, when you open your mouth wide, you can move your lower jaw away from your head. Now, this only movement try with your upper jaw. Are you able to move it? No, there is a joint between the upper jaw and the rest of the head, which is a fixed joint. That's why it cannot move. So, one type of joint is the fixed or fused joint. Fixed joint from between two bits of bones and they do not move. So the plates of bone that make up our skull were once separate, but during early years they fused to form a solid skull, because earlier these different bones are there, but slowly and gradually during years they fuse to form a solid skull. And the fusion of the bone means it cannot grow and get bigger or smaller. That is why it is called fixed joint. Where the bones cannot move, such joints are called fixed joint. See, and so example is skull. You can see here, look closely to the picture. The fixed joint between plates of bone in the skull. So here you have learned about some joints. Hopefully in next video I will explain one more topic of this lesson. We'll meet you soon. Thank you.